Hey guys, welcome back to Glam Finds, and I'm here with another new and indie, even though it is really delayed, and I'm actually going to bring it to you in two videos, hopefully back-to-back weeks. But this one is going to have two brand new houses. They're not brand new. I'm just, again, very delayed in getting this stuff out here. The second one, it's going to be stuff that I mostly already talked about, but I kind of still want to keep up with the new and indie stuff to make it a little bit easier to go back to a video and figure out what's kind of newer. Maybe not new, but newer. And the first one I want to talk about today is from a brand new house called Hez Parfums. And this house is kind of based on the vibe of New Orleans. And his fragrance that I have here is Rue Bourbon. Now, I will read you the notes off of this and then give you a little bit of the vibe. So in the top you have apple and spice, mid, bourbon, tobacco, tonka bean, base, sandalwood, cedar, and vanilla. And for the most part, you're gonna get most of those notes in here. So in the opening, I do get a pretty prominent apple and vanilla combo. And I think because of that, it has kind of more designer tendencies in the opening. As this dries down, this gets really more into the niche territory. And this kind of smokiness comes out, and I believe that is the sandalwood mixing with some other things, but it smells really good. It's boozy, it's smoky, and again, there's nothing smoky on this, but I believe, honestly, that it's the interaction with sandalwood, and he also said that there's some amber and oud in the base. There's not a lot, I believe that's why it's not listed, but it smells a little bit sweet, a little smoky, kind of boozy. You got that tobacco in there. Not heavy on anything, just really well blended with everything, and it smells really good. If you kind of like that sandalwood that kind of leans in that smokier direction, that's what I'm getting in here. But it's got enough sweetness to balance it out, so I think it fits a wider range of people. And the performance is really what I want to hit on. The first time I wore this, I wore it on my wrist, and I was wearing a long sleeve shirt. It's still pretty cold where I'm at. And I wore it out overnight into the next morning. When I woke up, I still smelled it through the shirt, which is really cool to me. It must be a really high concentration. And I feel like in terms of performance, if you're looking for a winter scent that performs really well, this is a really good option. I think the quality is really there. And for a new house, I feel like the quality is higher than I would have maybe pictured it to be, especially because, you know, he's doing this on his own. Check out this bottle right here. Here's the label. But yeah, I mean, if you're into kind of a smokier scent, but that does include a little bit of sweetness to it, I honestly think this is a good one to check out. And again, it's not smoke like birch smoke, the smokiness that you're gonna get from there. It's kind of like that certain type of sandalwood, how it mixes with certain notes, how it comes out to that smoky vibe. More on this house hopefully to come. If you haven't checked them out, check them out. I'll link everything down below, and I'll link the Instagram down below because he is a new house. Next. Since the first one was a new house that I haven't talked about before, I want the second one to also be a new house. This one you guys have probably already heard of. We have three fragrances from the house of Cinematic Infusions. Now this is the Discovery set. It opens up like this. You got your three Discovery 2.5 mils right there. You have Wonka, Everlasting, and Absinthe. So Wonka is the one I'm going to talk about first because I think this is like the stereotypical one. This is based on the Wonka trilogy. This is called the Wonka trilogy, this set of fragrances. And the Wonka one is the one that obviously smells chocolatey, and I honestly think for the gourmand lover, that's going to be Wonka. If you do like a chocolatey feel in a fragrance, although I would say I don't always love a chocolatey feel, but I actually do like this one, which surprised me. A lot of these fragrances surprise me. Yeah, it smells really good. It actually smells really good, and I'm saying actually because obviously this one is a little bit different than my style leans towards. The one that I think, I actually thought all of these were going to be really gourmand, and that one is gourmand, but I honestly feel like if you're not a huge gourmand lover, but you like that like darker chocolate note in fragrances. I actually think you're gonna like this one a lot. And to be honest, out of all three of these, I think this one will be the fan favorite. Because it does smell good, and for me to gravitate towards that one, a little confusing for me, but it's got like sweetness, but not too much sweetness. Maybe a little bit of like something fresh in there that balances it out. It's not fresh. It is not fresh. I'm saying there's something, a touch of freshness that balances it out. The notes to this are pineapple, bergamot, cotton candy, caramel, almonds, praline, coconut, white chocolate, dark chocolate, vanilla, tonka bean, and ambroxan. For me, what I'm really smelling is the dark chocolate, tonka bean, the ambroxan that I'm saying is balancing it out, and then the pineapple. As it dries down, more of the coconut's gonna come out and a little bit of the vanilla, but I feel like the way that this is blended makes it really wearable to people that maybe aren't the biggest chocolate lovers in fragrance. The one that I thought I was going to prefer the most, and I actually don't know if I have a favorite out of these because it kind of changes depending on the day, because I thought I was gonna come tell you one was my favorite and I'm a little bit changing my mind now, but was absinthe. And absinthe, the notes in this one are absinthe, obviously, lavender, bitter orange, fruits, patchouli, water, jasmine, black licorice, cedar, leather, oak moss, sandalwood, vanilla, and white musk. The absinthe, the note is obviously really there. So is the lavender and the patchouli as well, which I actually think is kind of a big player in a lot of minty fragrances. You're gonna get the black licorice. I don't feel like the leather, oak moss, or sandalwood are super apparent, but the vanilla is in there, giving it this touch of sweetness. I think if you ask me right now, absinthe would probably be my favorite. Again, I do kind of go back and forth a little bit. But the other one that I also really like, I'm telling you, I'm probably really torn between the three of them, is Everlasting. And that one has bubblegum, cotton candy, caramel, jasmine, plum, morello, cherry, Turkish rose, benzoin, cedar, cinnamon, clove, patchouli, balsam of Peru, sandalwood, tonka bean, vanilla, vetiver, and birthday cake. That's a lot of notes. I get a lot of cherry when I smell this. And you're gonna get kind of like the candy-ish things like cotton candy and bubblegum and a little bit of floral, which I guess that will probably be the jasmine, but front and center that I am getting is the cherry in a really good way, and that's kind of why this one has been back and forth with absinthe as my number one. I think Wonka today was the one that was like, is this my favorite? I don't think so. I think it would probably be absinthe still, but Everlasting is also really, really good. They're all really good. And they're all, I believe it's 42% X straight. So I feel like for this one, I would grab this set unless you know exactly what notes you like. But I found it to be pretty unique. I feel like that's kind of the whole point, and it's all obviously based on Willy Wonka. I thought that was a pretty cool idea. Next. So the next one is from the House of City Rhythm. It is going to be City Rhythm Austin. Now, the notes to this one are cognac, tobacco, tonka bean, oak, leather, sandalwood, vanilla, musk, and amber. Boozy, tobacco, tonka bean, and I get some spices, including cinnamon in here. And I actually get a little bit of apple in it as well, and maybe a touch of pepper in the opening, and it is really good. It's dense. It's got that City Rhythm performance factor behind it. It's different than anything that he's created so far, but this one, in terms of the fragrance community, I think is going to have mass appeal because it is thick, but it's sweet without being too sweet, but it's got those dense notes that kind of last and project. I will also say this, when it comes to indie houses, I'm gonna say last and project because for the most part they're using extraits. I actually think everything that I've showed you guys so far, everything is an extrait, but Rue Bourbon is an Eau de Parfum, but I already told you I had it on skin for almost 24 hours and it performed pretty well. So I actually think it must be more of a high concentration eau de parfum. I think all of these are. I wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about Austin prior to the pre-sale, but they're being sold and shipped now on the City Rhythm website. I'll link that down below, and I believe that I have a discount code, and I'll go ahead and link that down below as well. Next. All right, so the last one is gonna be a twofer from the house of Coastal Carolina Parfums. You're gonna have Southern Comfort and Victorian Vanilla. Now, let's talk about the notes to Southern Comfort first. So Southern Comfort is a smooth, earthy, and relaxing like a morning in the Blue Ridge Mountains. That's based off the site. I didn't make that up. It has saffron whiskey, nutmeg, green tobacco, jasmine, patchouli, incense, musk, and Virginia cedar. So this one is a boozy fragrance, but it is also sweet, and it's got some good spices to it. And I feel like it's balanced really well. I actually really like how he used the saffron in here. I'm bringing this up because saffron in fragrances is a hit or miss for me depending on what type of saffron is used. But I really like it here, and I think it's blended really well, and I think his use of sweeter notes balances everything out. Like the incense and the tobacco is blended really well with the cinnamon. I don't feel like it's really smoky or anything like that. But it does have smokiness. For me, the whiskey outshines the incense. They're both present, but you're gonna get a little bit more whiskey. But again, it's blended with that green tobacco really well. So I really like how he did that one, but the one that I wanna talk to you about a little bit more is the Victorian Vanilla. And the reason that I want to is because I'm not a huge vanilla fragrance lover. This one has vanilla, lemon, cinnamon, magnolia, brown sugar, honey, benzoin, amber, tonka bean, and musk. Now, this smells really good. So for me, the things I'm getting the most of are vanilla, tonka bean, this really nice warm benzoin, and cinnamon and brown sugar kind of combined together. And I actually really love how this smells on my skin. Actually probably isn't a great word when it comes to talking about fragrances, but again, I don't really love vanilla fragrances. A lot of times I'll get a vanilla fragrance, I'll wear it, I'll try to get into it, and then I'll end up selling it because vanilla fragrances aren't always my jam, and sometimes I feel like they go too sweet on my skin. However, the way that he used the cinnamon and the benzoin in here, the way that it kind of makes the fragrance warmer instead of just really sweet, I prefer that, and I think I really like the way that he used the amber and musk to balance everything out as well. So I think this one is probably my more surprising one from him, because again, I am not really known for being a big vanilla lover. I love when they use vanilla to sweeten a fragrance lightly, more of like a background note. I don't love it forefront, but this is called Victorian Vanilla. I just really like how he blended all these notes to make something that's not too sweet, because I don't like a syrupy sweet anything. I feel like the notes would say this might be syrupy sweet, but it's not. And again, I really just love how it goes on my skin, and this brand in general is also a really big performer. Again, indie houses tend to have fragrances that just perform, projection, longevity, the whole 9 yards. I know I'm late on reviewing these, so if you've tried these, which I'm guessing by now a lot of you have, comment down below, let me know what you think. As always, thank you guys for watching. Remember, if you like this video, if you liked it, be subscribed to my channel, hit that notification bell to get notified when I drop a new video, and I will see you guys on the next one. Bye!